Okay, I've got two quick election fraud updates. I shared with you yesterday about this lawsuit that had been filed against Mike Pence and the madness behind it, that somehow he is going to be forced by a court of law to not do his job as stated by the Constitution. And I also shared with you that those people who made unfounded, unsubstantiated claims about Dominion voting machines are now facing a huge backlash. Why? Because when you make claims about a company in the public and you don't have evidence to back up those claims, that is legal jeopardy. You can be sued. And guess what? They are being sued. Remember Rudy Giuliani's star witness who became a subject of Saturday Night Live? This is Melissa Carone. She just cracks me up. I'll play this clip for you at the hearing. The best part about this clip, if you're listening, you won't be able to see it, but the best part about this clip is when she just keeps going and going, and Rudy Giuliani leans over to her to try to get her to stop because she's talking about things that she's not supposed to be there talking about. Here's that clip.
The poll book is completely off. Completely off.
Off by 30,000?
I'd say that poll book is off by over 100,000. That poll book, why don't you look at the registered voters on there? How many registered voters are on there?
Watch, here comes Rudy.
Do you even know the answer to that?
No, I guess I'm trying to
Get
get
him.
to the bottom of this here.
Zero. There's zero.
So my question then is if the...
Guess how many, wait, what about the turnout rate? 120%?
He's trying to get her attention.
Let's let Representative Johnson ask his question, please.
So the...
Well, I told you that Dominion voting, the first thing they did is they released her job description and the job that she was hired to do. And it turns out her job was to clean the glass on the voting machines. That was it. Now, Melissa Carone has been issued a cease and desist letter for Dominion voting systems over her comments. And she is also named in this lawsuit against Rudy Giuliani, Melissa Carone, Fox News, Newsmax, OANN, and many others who participated in these claims against Dominion voting. I played yesterday for you the clip of Newsmax backing away from their claims. Did you guys catch it? Did you want to hear that again? Because I can probably bring that up. I wasn't prepared for it, but I thought, maybe. Let me see if I can. Let's see how quick I am here. If I can pull that up. Be patient. I'll give you a topic to discuss. Here we go. This is Newsmax's clarification that happened just before Christmas.
Since Election Day, various guests, attorneys, and elected officials have appeared on Newsmax and offered opinions and claims about Smartmatic and Dominion systems, both companies that offer voting software in the U.S., and Newsmax would like to clarify its news coverage that it has not reported as true certain claims made about these companies. There are several facts our viewers and readers should be aware of. Newsmax has found no evidence that either Dominion or Smartmatic owns the other or has any business association with each other. We have no evidence that Dominion uses Smartmatic software or vice versa. No evidence has been offered that Dominion or Smartmatic used software or reprogrammed software that manipulated votes in the 2020 election. Smartmatic has stated that its software was only used in the 2020 election in Los Angeles, was not used in any battleground state contested by the Trump campaign. Newsmax has no evidence to the contrary. Dominion has stated the company has no ownership relationship with the Pelosi family. the Feinstein family, the Clinton family, Hugo Chavez, or the government of Venezuela.
What?
Neither Dominion nor Smartmatic has any relationship with George Soros.
What?
Smartmatic is a U.S. company and not owned by the Venezuelan government, Hugo Chavez, or any foreign official or entity. Smartmatic states that it has no operations in Venezuela. While the company did election projects in Venezuela from 2004 to 2017, it was never founded by Hugo Chavez, nor did it have a corrupt relationship with him or the Venezuelan government. For more on this, please go to our website at newsmax.com. Read facts about Dominion Smartmatic that you should know.
In other words, Newsmax has no evidence of any wrongdoing or any nasty little associations with Dominion voting. Now, if you read the Sidney Powell lawsuits, they allege all of those things, the Hugo Chavez, all of those connections. Why did Newsmax back up? Because they're being sued. And they could lose bigly, to use a terminology from President Trump. Because they've been spreading these vicious rumors and allowing people to come on their program and spread these rumors. And there's nothing to back it up. There's nothing. Nothing. And you wonder why these cases have been thrown out of court. What a surprise. So once again, we find that this entire effort by President Trump to call this election a phony or a fraud or a theft, the reality is the only one trying to steal an election is him. And you must believe that until there is verifiable evidence that can be presented in a court of law. And again, I will remind you, I reminded you yesterday, that in 2016, when President Trump lost the Iowa primary, he tweeted out that in a GOP primary, Ted Cruz cheated and committed election fraud. Isn't that surprising? Now, I also shared with you yesterday this lawsuit from Representative Louis Gohmert from Texas. I love Texas, but some of your representation down there. Scott, some of the representation down there got some questions for sure. Remember, I told you that they sued Vice President Mike Pence to get him to alter his duties on January 6th. And instead of counting the official electors, they want him to select the alternate electors and buy into the theory that we have a contested election, which we don't. Well, the update on this story is that according to lawyers for Louis Gohmert, Vice President Mike Pence has declined to sign on to their plan to upend the congressional certification process. What a relief. Not really, because there was no chance in creation that this thing was going to go anywhere. To give you the update, if you haven't listened to yesterday's podcast, what they wanted to happen is the vice president just has a ceremonial role here. His job is to count the electoral votes. The electoral votes that are certified and submitted by each state. Okay, that's his job. He can't dispute the votes. He can't choose which votes to count. He has no authority. It is purely ceremonial in the Constitution. The only ones who can challenge electoral votes are members of the House or the Senate. Mike Pence cannot. This lawsuit was trying to tell him that he could actually count the alternate electors that were sent in these 6 battleground states. The problem with that is that those alternate electors are not official in any capacity. They're made up. They're imaginary. They're not instituted by any official capacity whatsoever. Those electoral votes in each of the battleground states were chosen officially, and they were given to President-elect Biden. Now, I also explained that there are situations in certain states where you can have alternate electors selected by the state legislature. So the governor would choose a set and the state legislature would choose a set. And that in that case, you would legitimately have a contested election for that state. But that's not what happened here. Most of the state legislatures were not even in session when these alternate electors were chosen. They're a complete fabrication. And one more time, they are an example of the current president trying to steal an election. And what is so disgusting about all of it is that when it's said and done, there will have been no official evidence presented and verified in a court of law. The president will leave still crying that he won in a landslide, and millions of people will believe that this election was stolen. And they will have lost their faith in democracy. And they will have lost that faith from a man who cried election fraud in 2012. He cried election fraud in 2016 when he lost a Republican primary. He cried election fraud in 2016 when he didn't win the popular vote. They put together a commission. They spent millions of dollars to find that election fraud. It was not found because he made the claim without evidence. And then he started making the claim before the election even started this time. And he has yet to allege fraud in any court of law. It's despicable. It's shameful. And unfortunately, it may never be seen by millions for what it is. And that is really sad.